Hello dear friends, it's Fisher here. So today we continue with our story, The Power of the Spirit, so by Alfred Hosp, also known as Freddy in the book. So now it came today after Bruno's usual talk, and then he was in a small group, and then he was giving a speech, basically giving a talk regarding there's people talking about clairvoyant, and then they're very special experience. And then Bruno gave a talk about these clairvoyant things, and then he warned people that many people have an education, but in most cases this is just a delusion. They suppose that they are seeing or hearing something, but most of it stems from their own wishes, ideas, and opinions, or a craving for recognition. In the spiritual realm, there are many delusions, and all the more so because most mediums do not know who is really lurking behind the so-called higher spiritual being, for which they are claiming to be the medium. In most cases, it is extremely low, indeed evil spirits, who make use of the bodies of weak-willed and credulous people in order to cause confusion. The dangers in doing this kind of thing also lie in the fact that even from what seems at first to be harmless mumbo-jumbo, seriously preoccupations can develop which can lead such people to become dependent, to go mad, and eventually to kill themselves. Because they are no longer master of their own thoughts and feelings. I warn you, dear friends, evil is always and everywhere lying in wait, in order to lure from the divine path people who are excessively curious and always want to know more. You are lured and led astray by fervid predictions and promises, while that which is true and genuine, and that which is natural, remains denied to you. In any case, no one who has been incarnated here as a normal mortal knows what it is really like in the beyond. The spiritual world is so beautiful, so different, and that there are simply no earthly comparisons, images, or words with which to describe it. And whoever has once been able to look into this other world never wants to look back. For this, your earthly life, you have received your bodies as a gift from God, and so that you will be able to learn here and accomplish the specific task that has been set to you. This is why this side is so important, yes, absolutely vital. You must continually aspire to live each day consciously and with joy, while being ready at every moment to make the right decision with God's help. Only here, on this divine earth, do you, as a growing, immortal, spiritual being, have the possibility at each moment of overcoming many of the early burdens that you brought here with you. In the world beyond, this is much, much harder, without the body to protect you and to point out to you at once the consequences of afflictions as they arise. This paragraph or what Bruno's talk is very powerful and very deep. And then I'll try to explain it. So lots of verses like I still don't understand myself 100%. So basically, Bruno starting by saying people have education these days, but in most cases, and then this is just a delusion. You ask yourself like our educational system here in the world, and then what does it teach you? What does it teach you? It teaches you to be a worker. Okay, so it teaches you to be a worker. Okay, it doesn't teach you to be a thinker. So you do not need to think because somebody else will think for you, and then you just basically learn all the skills like is required for this society. Like you be a carpenter, you be a truck driver, be a nurse, doctor, or engineer. So whatever. How often in any schools it will teach you to be a philosopher? Okay, to be someone like Aristotle, to be like Socrates, to be like Plato. Did any school teach you or encourage you to be a great thinker? Okay, to have a love like to have a really like a loving heart like towards your fellow human being. Okay, apart from the church's mention about the Christ love you, and then we should love each other like ourselves, but hardly in practice. So these days, like the education we basically receive is merely like delusion. So, do you receive any education to be really healthy? Anything like since you're primary school, so any education they teach you to be healthy, this and that. How often it works? Okay, so it teach you like to be a nurse, like to be a doctor, to treat patients with all sorts of drugs. But does it like of how often like the doctor died themselves of the particular illnesses? How often like the doctor died of heart disease or this and that cancers, and then you wonder, and then you ask yourself the questions, and then you say, well, why do the doctors receive like all the education, the training from medical school? They cannot treat themselves, and then they cannot be disease free. They cannot be like healthy and then die of just old age, like whether they're 70, 80, 90 or 100. Why like even the medical personnel and then die of so many disease? So what training and education they receive from the medical school, and who founded the medical school? So this is all the question you got to ask yourself, dear friends. Our educational system is total failure. So basically, you do not know how to be healthy 100%. You do not know how to be independent and critical thinkers anymore. Okay, then the school don't encourage that. School will tell you like what you should do and then what you should not. Okay, it never say you should find answers yourself, or hardly any. And also back to what Bruno's teaching is. He said like somebody is supposed to be a clairvoyant or medium, and then they are seeing or hearing something, and then mostly it's from their own wish, ideas and opinion or craving for recognition. So, and then we used to say, there's a saying, what you think during the day and you dream at night. So there is a genuine clairvoyance. There is. But the question is, and how can you be sure, like whatever the messages you receive from the other world is right? How can you be sure? Often we can't be sure. And also Bruno said like in the spiritual realms, and there are many delusions. Okay, so there's many delusions awaiting, and again we don't know like from which one, from the good or from the evil, we receive our messages from. And also like the evil spirits, normally very low spiritual beings, and then they always pretend that they are the high spiritual beings, and then basically like it just lurking behind and also like lure you, and then because you want to know some so-called superior messages from the other world, and then because you want to know, you wanting it so bad, and then you believe like whatever you receive from the other world is good. But there's always a danger in it. always a danger in it. And then, as what Bruno warned again, and then at beginning it might seem harmless, but later on become serious preoccupations. And then the evil spirits will use the human beings and will use you up. And then once they use you up, you don't have any value to them, and then they will cause you, to kill yourself. It's very simple. And then once you so used to receive messages from the other world, and then you become a habit and become a dependent, become a dependent on the messages. Same thing like alcohol, cigarette, or drug addiction, the dependency. So you can't break away from your dependency. So if later on, after you have your preoccupations for a long time, and then the evil spirit just say, well, look, it's time to finish yourself to go to heaven, and then you'll do it. So that is what is so dangerous about. Okay, dear friends, so we'll continue with the part B.